Hey, good evening, everybody. I just finished up my yoga for the night, and I am eagerly awaiting American Horror Story Season 8 to start. And it dawned on me that I never posted my video about my super crystal. I made one, and then it's kind of irrelevant now because it had a bunch of content regarding some other stuff. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm making one now. So, this is what I call my super crystal. That is not a term that really means anything as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I call it that because this thing has some crazy energy that is really moving me, let me tell you. So, but it's a great example of a bunch of attributes that you might even already have on some stones at home, and you might not realize the attributes and exactly how they can be useful in healing. So I wanted to share some of that knowledge with you guys. First and foremost, I was going to go over the barnacles. So barnacles are basically all these little tiny crystals you see that have formed along the surface of the bigger crystal. What that is a bunch of new growth appearing on an older, wiser stone. So this stone is sharing its knowledge with these smaller stones. They're working cohesively together to accomplish their goals. Basically, it can help you with that kind of behavior. It can help your group energy work together and just be more in tune with one another and be a more wholesome group, I guess. I do have some notes, so I'm going to reference them, so sorry about that, but I unfortunately have a terrible memory, and so I have to take notes on everything. My notebook is completely full of just like everything. But anyway, on to attribute 2, self-healed. So a self-healed stone is one that has some fractures in it. That's typically what you are seeing when you see a rainbow in your stones. It's a little fracture in there. Also, it can be like this guy has this little tip. So at one point, this all just came up and it was one point. It was just one, big termination, basically one big point. But what happened was that broke off, and then conditions became perfect, and it started growing again. I just love that. So conditions became perfect for growth, and so that's what happened. It started growing again. So that's what you see, a bunch of new little points coming up. That is it growing, ladies and gentlemen. New crystals. But basically that can be a supportive energy for you. So that can kind of help you when you're trying to heal yourself, when you're going through it, when you've had a really severe trauma in your life. It can really help you kind of move past that, learn how to cope, just always building that toolbox. Always, giving yourself tools in order to cope with life. That's kind of what I feel like part of this journey is about. Could be wrong, who knows. And then third and final, I wanted to talk to you about the fact that it is a record keeper. Now, I don't know if I am just like really meant to do something important or not. Like, I'm not sure. It's kind of starting to scare me, but I have record keepers coming at me like all the time. Every time I go get a crystal and I come home and I start really looking at it, I discover it's a freaking record keeper, which is not a bad thing at all, but it's just kind of crazy that I can, because I usually examine crystals, relatively thoroughly when I'm buying them, but sometimes, when it's just like, oh, I need some, green calcite, just kind of pick a bunch. But anyway, so a record keeper, there's 2 parts to this. So the first part, some people may not believe that much because you might not just have, the same opinions that I do, and that's totally cool, but I'm still going to share because I do think that there's a lot of people who believe in this stuff too. So you can just kind of like, look at whatever until part 2, whatever. Anyway, Basically, record keepers are said to be programmed by the Atlanteans to hold all of their knowledge. So, there's a bunch of conflicting conversations going on about Atlantis and Atlanteans and whether they're there and the crystals and being activated still and how that's happening. And, I don't know. I'm still in the very beginning stages of learning about that. But what I do know is that I do believe that Atlantis is real. I do believe that there are those of us who feel especially connected to the earth and deep within the earth and, crystals and even, dirt itself, I feel very drawn to these things. That sounds strange, but I don't mind getting dirty. I don't know how else to say it, but anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm making myself sound silly. Basically, Atlantis wanted to preserve their knowledge for the universe. They knew that what they knew and what they were doing was important and worth knowing, so they recorded it. They recorded it, but the thing is that you can notice that it's a record keeper. You can see, also, I need to explain what a record keeper is, how you can tell that. I'm really sorry, I will go over that in just a second. But basically, in order to unlock this knowledge, you have to really be in tune with yourself. You have to be a pure heart. You have to be wanting to know this stuff because you want to help the planet. You want to help, civilization. You want to help others. This is not something that you're just going to be able to, see that particular attribute and be like, oh, cool, now I'm going to know all the knowledge that all the Atlanteans had. No way, Jose, that's not going to be how it works. You have to do some serious self-work and, make yourself worthy of knowing this stuff. But to the point, I'm really sorry, part twoers, if you tuned out, you might want to know this. Basically, a record keeper, and I apologize, I'm probably not going to be able to show you, but it basically looks like a bunch of little triangles all over a surface. That can mean that it basically is just like in the glare of the light, you can see like just along the surface like little etches, or it can be an actual imprint of like a triangle, like little dot in there. As for this guy, it is completely covered. Every single surface has them. It's insane. Especially when combined with the other attributes, this thing is just seriously like, But for part 2 of a record keeper and how that can help you and benefit you is basically it holds the imprint of things that have gone before. So even if you don't believe that Atlanteans put it there, that's still what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be knowledge from the earth, from the universe, from all that has gone before us. And it's basically just here to help us. It's helpful for self-exploration. It's helpful for removing obstacles. And most importantly, I think that it really helps get yourself through those obstacles that you've created in order to get to your own spiritual wisdom, to who you truly can be, to who you're fully capable of being. It helps you become who you were meant to be, why you were brought here. So it's basically just like a key to yourself. It's really beautiful. I oftentimes like to just hold it up to my ear and think that I'm calling Atlantis and that they're just, telling me all that I need to know. But, unfortunately for us, that's not how it works. But we can work on ourselves and we can get in tune and we can meditate and we can work with the stones and see what comes up. So, anyway, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. This is only my second YouTube video ever, so I really appreciate the support. I hope that you follow along as hopefully I post more and create a whole new fabulous life for myself. So have a wonderful night. If you're watching American Horror Story, please comment here and let me know what you think of the first episode because I am so stoked to watch it. And yeah.